They just give me the shivers.
It's better than picking them off one at a time, right? And I remember Jamie running in, you want to see this? The hot meeting.
All right. It is 5 o'clock on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. I will call this regular town board meeting of the town of LaPointe to order. A roll call: Mike Anderson,
Here.
Amy Baxter, Susan Brenna, Samantha Dobson,
Here.
and Glenn Carlson here. We also have our town clerk, our town administrator, our public works director with us, and members, and our zoning administrator and members of the audience. Is there any public comment? Yes, Sue.
I would like to make a correction of something I said at the last meeting. At the last meeting, when we were discussing the direct sellers and the church, I said that Rick Gilman, the previous zoning manager, had told me wrong information, and by the end of the meeting, it was proven that information was correct. So I just wanted that to be on the record.
Thank you, Sue. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on to administrative reports. Town administrators report. Everyone have a copy of that. Are there any questions or comments for Michael? I do have. Go ahead.
What the SEC or the airport, what's the point, what? Just on hold,
SEH.
SEH.
Sorry, what?
Your fourth bullet point under airport, you said you guys met with them, but I just wanted to know what were the results, any.
Next meeting is in June. Yeah, I mean.
Well, you're gonna meet.
Will be 3 or 4 meetings. They're gonna, between members of the committee, Nick is one of them. They will figure out what the priorities are for the terminal area and what to do with the terminal building.
And they take your input, but they have the last say, right?
And I don't want to sound cynical, but basically the Bureau of Aeronautics pretty much calls, has the last call on that. I mean, I think they will listen to what I want to say here. And, the message they're getting is, yeah, the building needs to be improved, but it doesn't need to be elaborate. So I hope they take that local sentiment into mind, but
I got you.
we pay 2.5%, they pay 97.5%.
Yeah.
I suspect that some points we get a slightly larger vote than we do, but ultimately the town board gets to approve or disapprove of the
Yeah.
plan.
Any other questions or comments on Michael's report? I do want to say, you mentioned the printed copies of the comprehensive plan being mailed to the required government agencies, and it is also available online on the town's website. And I've had several comments, complimentary comments of the work of the committee and you in developing that plan. So kudos. Any other comments or questions on the town administrator's report? Okay, moving on. Public Works, Roads, Dock and Harbor. We have a proposal to hire a sign installer. And you see the action item recommendation.
I would make a motion to hire Gary Biggsmith to install the fire numbers at $20 an hour beginning April 24th, 24, not to exceed $800.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is for discussion on disposal of the old fire number and street signs. Staff is looking for guidance on how to handle the existing fire number signs and the wood street signs once they are replaced. Do either the town administrator or the public works director have a suggestion?
Well, our initial thought is on the road signs, the wooden road signs, to put them up for auction, figuring that people would want to retain those. There are several hundred street or fire number signs. For how we want to handle that or what our capacity is to handle individual requests for that. So kind of just looking for what people think we should attempt to do or not do, because we can always scrap them for metal.
Well, that's what I would say.
Our metal prices still are.
Or you know, offer them to the homeowner, and if they don't want them, you know, somebody might want them for like nostalgia or some reason, you know, might be their first one, like, who knows? And then if they don't want them, like I don't want mine, you can scrap mine. That's what I'd say.
Okay, any other input?
Tommy might want
That's what I was.
them.
Yeah, mine.
Okay, we've had a couple of suggestions. And if anybody,
Individuals say that they would like to keep their old signs and mention the possibility of having an auction fundraiser to help pay for what we're doing. And they said they'd be willing to pay for this.
okay, well, we will, now that you've gotten some feedback from the town board, we'll look to hearing a recommendation from you in a future meeting. Does that sound reasonable?
Sure, we'll have to figure out how much staff time it would take to run those kind of opportunities.
As little as possible.
For the time being, thank you for hiring Gary, since he was the only applicant. Well, this would entail our next. That would be, say, if he starts next week, it's gonna be a case by case thing if people are requesting. I want my sign and I have it.
I would say yes, let them have it. What do you all think?
Yeah,
I'd say
I agree.
that.
Yeah, I agree.
Less to it,
It's not that much for scrap metal, but 100 of them will.
The only thing
Yeah.
I think about that would be that maybe. I mean, because we don't want people saying, oh, I forgot to get it and I want it back. Maybe Gary should just,
We can save them for the time being.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Moving on, contract on ESB tree removal. And we do have a recommendation from the town administrator and town staff. I will say that subsequent to this, I have heard from Evan Senior, who has vociferously endorsed the competence of one of the other bidders who happens to be several $1,000s less. I think that this is perhaps not information that staff had when they developed their recommendation, but I am certainly interested in hearing what the town board wants to do.
Well, we, at that last meeting, we said to Michael and Ben, you guys are sitting right there, and we said, you know, look into it and give us a recommendation. And that's, I'm reading the recommendation. So
that isn't what we said though, because we just opened the bids and we said we would discuss the bids at this time. We didn't have a discussion and direction.
I think we asked him to make a recommendation. Glenn asked Michael to make a recommendation.
That would be typical. Yeah.
Even though we didn't discuss.
We didn't discuss anything. That's all we did was open the bids and ask Michael to look into them and make a recommendation.
I think we typically do ask the
Okay.
staff to make a
And I
recommendation.
guess what I'm saying is, he's making a recommendation. What you're saying now is that we ignore that recommendation?
No, just that we have additional information that we've learned.
His recommendation says that they don't have the same equipment capabilities. And Evan's information says that they do have this, that
Yeah.
this guy does the same equipment.
Yeah,
Similar
Oh,
or adequate equipment is the way I would interpret the letter that Evan Erickson. I mean, we got the information directly from the bidders. And so my recommendation is reliant on what the bidders told me. And I understand that, you know, I may have caught them at bad times or they're not great salesmen, you know, and they don't give their best pitch. There is a significant price difference. You know, that's easy to see. I think the other thing should be on the record that, you know, Evan Erickson, when he says that his recommendation has crew, that Evan Erickson is part of that crew. I think we need to put that on the record.
Absolutely.
So-
Thank you actually for pointing that out. I thought that I maybe had made that clear, but no, I mean, and that's I think part of the issue that you may have had was that, there was not 100% transparency on that issue with the person that made the bid. Frankly, I think that had we all known that most of the work was going to be done by the two Evans, that would have given the bid a lot more credibility than it probably had on the face of it. I think that from what I know that the work that Evans would do and the work that Greg would do would be very comparable. I know that this fellow did the work out in front of the library recently, and you can't even tell that there were trees there. I said the library, the museum. The museum, yeah, the museum. You can't even tell that the trees were there. I mean, it was a great job, and I know they've done other work on the island, and so I think to me, it just gets down to one is $4,000 less than the other.
Yeah.
So despite, for me, normally I would definitely go along with staff recommendation, but I do think that we all have heard additional information since what you uncovered, and so I think it's reasonable if that's the direction the board wants to go. So
I'll make a motion that we approve the ESB tree removal to Bruce's tree. I don't have the exact title.
Wow.
Bruce Lau Tree Service.
Bruce what?
Wow, tree service.
Bruce Glau Tree Service.
Second.
I moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Well, he put out his thing on Friday, right? Your information, Thursday or Friday. And I'm just going by what his recommendation is. That's all.
No, that's fine.
I'm not gonna go on weekend warriors information.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I did.
One opposed, motion carries. Okay, moving on. Purchase order for Hagen Road culverts. And that's in the town board meeting memo. And there's also a actual purchase order for $5,284. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase order for the Hagen Road culverts.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, action item to hire a camp host.
I'll make a motion that we hire William Creed pending a background check as the camp host at $18 an hour from June 3rd to September 12th, 2024, not to exceed $700.
Second.
Moved and second, discussion.
It's Campos too, right? Yeah, Campos too.
Camp host 2. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, contract for chapel cleaning of the chapel at Greenwood Cemetery. And this is an action item to recommend the cleaner.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Barony Residential and Commercial Cleaning Services in the chapel and at less than $3,000 a year.
Second.
Okay, it is moved and seconded. Any discussion?
He did that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were satisfactory. Okay, great. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Next, planning and zoning, appoint members to the town plan commission. And we did have a number of applicants. However, I propose that that I appoint and you ratify Charlie Brummer and Sue Ellen Socek to be members of the town plan commission. So we need a motion to ratify those appointments.
I will make a motion to appoint Sue Ellen Solcheck and Charlie Brummer to the zoning committee,
Town Plan Commission.
town planning.
I'll second.
Oh, Sue gets it.
Sue seconded. Okay, any discussion?
Do they, like, how do they make their chairman of their committee?
That's
Like themselves?
statutory. No, the town chair appoints the chairman.
Oh.
And again, I think it's subject to approval by the town board, I
I think
believe.
that's a little open to interpretation. That's been the practice here, as I understand it.
Okay, yeah, so it's been appointed by the town chair, ratified by the town board, just like members of the TPC. Unlike the Harbor Commission, which,
I was gonna say some committee.
yeah, no, and that's statutory. I mean, this is all statutory. So, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you to Charlie and Sue Ellen. Next, and this is pending me getting her approval, but I would like to reappoint Sue Ellen Sochek as chair of the Town Plan Commission. And so we need a motion to ratify that.
I'll make a motion to have the chair ratify Sue Ellen as the chairman of the TPC.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Hopefully, Sue Ellen. Next item, to review the rental ordinance language on delinquent payments, and our zoning administrator is here. If anyone has any questions, or Ed, if you wanted to make a comment, but I think the discussion in the town board meeting memo is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, what the conundrum it sounds like that you think people might be facing is people who are delinquent on their property taxes, but also wanting to rent out their property, feel that the only way they can get current on their property taxes is to rent out their property. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Because they are only using the properties typically as businesses. Some of them are living in the winter. But I mean, you know, we all have hard times, so 60 days delinquent. We need to say, okay, you cannot rent this, you lose your income now. They lose their ability to get caught up. So we force them into foreclosures. Morally, I don't feel right enforcing this law. I could see if it was, you know, maybe further delinquent, other things in there, but you know, the taxes we're due in January, we're doing our rental permits in June. For me to deny them the ability to try to get caught, I have issues.
You have a suggestion?
Pardon?
You have a suggestion?
I would like to see them sentences from the start of, if the permit holder or an individual holder of ownership interest of the property, rental property is more than 60 days delinquent in taxes or debt owed to the town. If the debt is not paid by July 15th, I mean, I'd like to see them sentences removed.
So people could get a renter's permit even if they owed 10 years worth of back tax,
The county will not allow that. They will,
2 years worth. They could still,
yeah, they'll foreclose after 3 years. And
Okay.
They're gonna lose their property.
you would never let them, you'd never,
Well,
Keep
maybe
them from-
we should see a little bit more lenient on 60 days. You know, if somebody didn't pay their property taxes in January, I'm telling them that they can't make any money this summer to try and get caught up. They either run illegally without a permit and subject to more fines, or just not make any money and not have the ability to get caught back up.
I definitely sympathize with, you know, someone's plight. However, on the other side of it is, you know, all the people who do pay on time, that, you know, why did they bother paying on time? Because, you know, they can still get their permit. And the other thing is, what's to say that the person's going to apply the money that they're making on renting it to their property taxes? They could just continue to, string that along for 3 years and just continue to get the money from the rent.
Maybe a contingency that if the permit is issued, the payment schedule should be adopted.
Okay, well, that's my question. Does anyone else on the board have a question or comment on this?
Well, I mean, I see the philosophy behind what he's saying, except why have a penalty if you're not gonna enforce it? I mean, if you're not gonna enforce it, what's the sense of having the penalty? I'm just, like Glenn said, why?
Well, I think Ed is saying take the penalty out.
But I think that's a good idea, like have a payment plan and say, okay, you can still be in business, but you gotta pay up
Okay,
During the summer when you're making your money.
when you're making your money. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that would be a compromise.
yeah.
I don't know what the difficulties of setting that up, prior to issuing a permit. But that would maybe have to be something that would, and, I mean, right now I can't even check if the property owner is delinquent on taxes because the GIS is not working at all. I can't even look it up. So if I get an application for that, for permit, I can't check. So, I just automatically issue the permit. And so if someone comes in later and says, well, these guys are delinquent, well, then that's up to TPC and the town board to say, okay, well, we need to enforce this delinquency
say something.
and set up a payment plan for something in order for you to keep this for.
John?
I'm just wondering, you said you couldn't use the webpage to look up and see if people are going to put on the taxes. Can you call a county?
Well, I probably could, I'd have to do it for every applicant.
Well, it's not clear they have their entire website is down.
Yeah, I mean, this is hopefully a temporary issue that they're having right now. Yes, Paul?
But not to turn this into a debate, but if you're going to do that, that's fine with me personally. You better have a mechanism in place that if you have a payment schedule and they don't pay up, you yank the permit. Because if you're a little queasy now about not issuing a permit to begin with because they're in arrears, how are you gonna feel at the end of August when they still haven't paid up and it's supposedly gonna make money? Then you're gonna have to do something. Because,
And they've got reservations coming in.
right.
well, I mean, when are you gonna say no?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's how to implement it, I guess, is what I mean, it's easy to say now you're kicking the cat down the road, but sooner or later, the cat's gonna come back and now what are you gonna do?
well, I propose that we put this on a future agenda item for further discussion and decision by the town board on this issue. Is that agreeable to everyone?
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
But let's try to get it done pretty quick because
Oh, yeah, we know the
Season's-
timing. Yeah,
season's here.
season's coming. But there is still time for us to consider this at a future meeting. Okay, moving on, we need to rescind the resolution that we passed at the last meeting to consider amending the zoning ordinance. Would anyone care to move to rescind ordinance 2024-0409C?
I'll make a motion to rescind resolution 2024-0409C.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Harbor Commission. So we had one resignation of Michael Childers from the Harbor Commission. We then put out a sign-up list that said we had one vacancy. We also subsequently to that had 2 additional resignations from the Harbor Commission. And that is Mike Anderson, who is just smiling like a Cheshire cat. And Carol Neubauer, both having done a terrific job and accomplished the goal of determining that it was feasible and acquiring the ferry line. And so what I had thought I would do tonight, we've had several people applying to be members of the Harbor Commission. And I had initially thought I would just appoint those three tonight. But it was pointed out to me that the sign-up list did say we just had the one vacancy. And so to keep everybody in process happy, I'm only going to make one appointment tonight. I'm going to suggest you repost saying that there are two more vacancies. We're going to keep the people who have already applied in the pool. And we're going to give till May 10th for people to apply for one of those two vacancies. So does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
And those people that already applied,
They're going to stay
they're
as
staying
applied.
and they'll be notified that we're gonna wait until May 10th.
Well, two of them are actually here right now. And so, yes, they are being notified that we're going to hold two more seats open right now until May 10th, just so that we don't have people saying, why did you say just one? And it was three. So,
Yeah, that sounds fair.
and there's no, I mean, frankly, there's no urgency to getting up to 7. If we have to wait 2 weeks, it won't be the end of the world. So with that, I would like to move down well, first we need to accept the resignations of Mike Anderson and Carol Neubauer from the Harbor Commission.
I make a motion, we accept the resignations from Carol Neubauer and Mike Anderson from the Harbor Commission.
Well, second, with lots of paints.
With
Yes,
tons
lots of things. Yeah.
I mean, this group met at least weekly for a year and a half.
And
That's why he looks so happy. Look how happy. I haven't seen him that happy.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, 70 or 80 meetings.
Yeah.
That's a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so Carol and Mike, your seat will be subject to the next appointments, but tonight, to fill Michael Childer's position, I will appoint Jay Wiltz to the Harbor Commission with your approval. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint or ratify Jay Wilt's appointment to the Harbor Commission.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So Susie, you and I will be in the next batch of people being considered. I get deferred also. So. Okay, next on the agenda is resolution 2024-0423A, allocation on the use of proceeds of the Ferry Line Service System bonds and notes. And this is just, I'll call it belt and suspenders, that the bond attorney is like, okay, just to make sure everything's all tidy, one last thing could you do? And so this and then ratification of bank loan, which I don't think we have yet. So this is just to approve resolution 2024-0423A.
Make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-0423A.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And we do not have that next resolution to ratify yet. Next item is Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. They would just like our permission, basically to have someone take a look at that building to see if it is worth doing anything with other than a bulldozer.
Who's qualified? You say?
Well, I suppose they will figure out somebody that's qualified to answer that.
The immediate intention is to work with Habitat for Humanity and staff people. It's all the time.
I mean, if somebody walked in there and saw the black mold or something, they might say, yeah, for $30,000, we could rehab this, but
Well,
we might say, yeah, tear it down.
well,
Start
for
over.
30,000, it might be worth it if,
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
affordable housing. I mean, that's pretty cheap for affordable housing.
Well, I'm just
So, but anyhow,
Are we just needing a motion to allow that person to enter the building?
or, consensus of the board, whatever. Michael, what would you like, a motion?
Just as long as on both of these that the board is clear that it's okay for the committee to bring someone into assess, well, there can be re-add and with the next point, simply since they've been asked to examine all feasible locations that we can have with other sites. Whether you want to make a motion, just make consensus or comfort level.
What is the pleasure of the board?
I think a consensus should be fine.
Sure.
Is there consensus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is consensus.
Well,
Thank you.
well too is pretty shy. I don't know
All
if you
things
want-
to be considered. Okay, so we just knocked off C1 and 2, I think. Right. Next is D, Public Arts Committee Support for Make Music Day. And I believe this was the presentation that was made to the Harbor Commission.
Correct.
And I believe they're just looking for a further okay, given that the town owns these vessels, that it's okay for them to be on one of the vessels for one round trip on the ferry, making music, a local, maybe Bayfield School Band or the 4th of July band, or, some local band getting together and making music in a secure place on the ferry boat, out of the way of everyone operating and driving, that it's just okay with the town board that they do that.
Is it okay with the Harbor Commission?
It is okay with the Harbor Commission.
I think their request really is separate. The request of the town board is simply that they could add their name as a quote unquote sponsor to Make Music Day activities
Okay.
in the area. And then they have a more specific request to the Harbor Commission, but they didn't feel comfortable saying they were sponsoring this, even though there's no financial. They didn't feel comfortable sponsoring it without your permission.
Okay.
And just to be clear, that we said, the Harbor Commission said, as long as it doesn't interfere with operational, if the people who are loading the boats and unloading the boats say, this isn't gonna work, well,
Right.
we're not gonna force them.
Do they have a date picked of when that?
June 21st.
June 20.
Solstice.
Solstice, okay. Is there consensus to allow that?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Next item, committee minutes. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this recent batch of committee minutes?
I didn't have anything.
Okay. Is there unanimous consent to place those on file?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Next, Town Hall Administration Budget Summary Report. Everyone should have a copy of that.
I will make a motion to approve budget summary report as presented.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, grant updates. We have a resolution 2024-0423C, the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant Application. Michael's got this in your report.
It's not in.
Okay, you want to go ahead and explain?
No, we only have to submit about 25 documents as part of this application, and one of them is simply that the town board or the governing body is on record of supporting the application. And, we'll budget the matching money if the grant is awarded.
Okay. Is there any, and this is for the accessibility project at
Mhm.
Big Bay. Okay, any discussion? Is there a motion?
When will we find out anything on them?
From Knowles Nelson,
Yeah.
they do not meet to begin making decisions until mid-June. So the application is due May 1st. They begin meeting to make decisions mid-June. I presume that there's staff assessment in the interim. I don't know when they make those And we have the ability to apply to 3 different programs. They will decide which is the best match. Some of them are statewide competition, some of them are regional competition for the money. So there's a lot of moving pieces from their end.
Okay. Any other questions?
And obviously, we can't move forward unless we get matching money. And so we've got the request in for congressionally directed spending. If that does not come through, we will have to look at about Plan B to figure out how to get matching money,
Okay,
which we have a Plan D, but
great, awesome. Alex, do we have a motion or do we need a motion? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-0423C for that Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant application for the Big Bay Town Park Accessibility Project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is just a discussion of how we want to record Zoom attendees in the minutes. And that's my summary of what we are here to discuss.
this was brought up by town board members. So
Okay.
I
So
am going to be silent on this.
Well, let's make up our mind. There's one name or 2 names, we have a face, not, just to be fair to Alex, if she knows how to put it, or are they present if there's one name and we like the.
About having like a first and last name, like Jim Peters right now. We can't-
That's fine with me. I don't care as long as we're consistent. I just don't want one time to be one name, one time.
I have to call for Zoom because we don't have a computer, it's broken. And I can't put my name in.
Okay, there's,
So there are people that can't put their name in.
Yeah, like yours is your phone.
Yeah.
well, then,
do we feel like we need to, in the minutes, record the people who are coming in on Zoom?
you started it with the one name. Started it when
Guilty,
you said one name isn't accepted to be present.
yeah. Well,
And so, and that's when I said, okay, then let's have a policy.
so what would we like to do? Would we like to see the names of people who are coming in on Zoom in the minutes? Or do we just want to say, and Zoom attendees, or how would we like this?
I think we can say and Zoom it.
Yes, that's what I'd say, Zoom attendees, because if they just say Carol, there's 8 Carols.
Unless
You know.
it's a town board member.
Unless it's a town
Yeah,
board.
that's fine.
And, maybe we could let them know that if they want a record of them being there,
They can say something in
they
public
can
comment.
say
Yeah.
something in public comment.
Yeah,
Because some might want a record of them being there.
That's,
exactly.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Is there a consensus on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Terrific. All right, moving on. Waiver for employee use of town Miffle garages, and this came up really during the discussion of the purchase of Miffle. That in the past, Miffle as a private company has allowed employees to either park their vehicles like in the winter in the shop or allowed them actually to work on their vehicles, their personal vehicles in the shop. And so because of that, we were asked because the town's acquiring essentially those assets. And we discussed it with the town's insurance agent as well as with the town attorney at the recommendation of the insurance agent and developed by the attorney a waiver for employees to use to basically waive liability to the town for them working on their personal vehicle. It then came up that, well, we also have a similar situation at the town shop. And how do we feel about that? I think there was some conversation that if in fact it was also limited to someone's personal vehicle, that would be fine and would fit under this same waiver. And so the question is now a question before the town board We have not gone back, I don't believe yet, and talked again to the insurance company and said, okay, we talked to the lawyer. Here's what the lawyer suggested we do. We're doing what the lawyer suggested. How do you all feel about this? Is it gonna, increase our premiums? Or are you comfortable with this insurance waiver? So now really, I think if I'm summarizing this, Michael.
I mean, the insurance company's position hasn't changed. They advise against it.
Right.
But if town believes it should or needs to do it, they absolutely would require a waiver,
Okay.
but they advise against it.
Okay. So that's where we stand.
Who came up with this waiver?
Bryce.
Our
Schoenberg.
attorney.
So they advise against the waiver.
No, they advise.
Guys against letting them work on
letting
their
it
cars.
Oh,
But
okay.
if we do,
But there,
we
but if we
have
do,
to
we
have a
need,
waiver.
okay, I just wanted to make sure they weren't advising against it with the waiver.
I believe that it's a perk. I mean, it's a perk to the employees. But whoever supervises them, and I don't see it in this waiver. Because there's a loophole, you could buy cars and then title them and say, I own the car. I'm working on that. And then turn around, fix it and sell it. And your hands would be tied, our hands would be tied. Unless a supervisor said, you're abusing it. It's obvious that you're abusing it. And so they could stop it. I would like to see that in there somewhere.
Okay, any other comments on this? I mean, it would take care of an issue that's been kind of floating below the surface for a long time. At least the south part of it. So, I don't think, do you want us to take a vote on this tonight, Michael, or are you just at this point looking?
This is, I think, the first time you've seen the waiver, so
Okay,
I would expect it would just be discussion and
okay,
get a sense. I mean, again, it's a difficult situation. There's an existing practice for ferry line employees. There's nothing official for town employees. So it's been an issue that's been forced to the forefront because of what would be a discrepancy between two different groups of employees who have similar job responsibilities.
okay, I think there seems to be a consensus and we'll treat this as a first reading then. Okay, moving on. Revisions to the direct sellers ordinance, and this is follow-up to the discussion we had at the last meeting. Basically, it gives the town the right to lease out town property to direct sellers. So do you want us to approve this tonight, Michael? It's probably,
Certainly ready for approval if you're comfortable with the
yeah,
conditions.
and it's really just that addition of F. The town board also should have the right to enter a lease or issue a permit to allow direct sellers or other merchants to conduct business on town property regardless of zoning district designation. And we may have someone challenging, the zoning district designation. I think what we're really just saying is for the existing usages that we currently have, this will take care of it. And if it goes into the future, we'll cross that bridge. So how do folks feel?
Yeah.
Is there a motion? To adopt the revision to the direct sellers ordinance. It's the gray part on the.
I'm question to adopt the revision to the direct sellers.
I'll second.
Put that, it was talking.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, moving on. Purchase order for the town hall printer, which is 12 years old, and we're going to try to see if we can get some money on the auction website, right? All right,
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase order for the town hall copy. Amount of $6,830.67.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is addition to the fee schedule for purchasing a copy of the in color printed comprehensive plan, in color and bound comprehensive plan that we've calculated cost us about $46 a copy. And so the question is, we've got some extra copies. And so what should we charge people? This is not autographed, right? These are just right off the shelf.
They're right off the shelf.
So autographed ones may be more.
Good fundraiser.
There you go. There you go. Okay. In all seriousness, does anyone have a sense of how much we should be
Well, they
charging?
cost 46. And we probably can't make, not supposed to make money on it, right? Not money.
Oh,
Correct.
shouldn't.
So I mean, we can, I don't care. We get our money back. We don't have to lose money.
You want to
Sell
charge
50?
46,
For
50,
50,
50,
a right nice round figure.
nice round $50.
If those sell and more people want them, is it gonna cost more to print
Well, yeah, of course.
per copy though?
Oh,
If you, because we wouldn't be getting a huge stack.
how many did
Right.
we get the first time? 50? Yeah, so we'd probably reprint the other, I think if we, I don't know. We probably wouldn't do 10 at a time.
Do we? I mean, and I don't, do we, I mean, because it's online, right?
It is
Yeah.
online.
So
But
do
people
we
can-
really expect a huge rush?
No.
No.
Okay,
No, we just need to have a
I
price.
mean, we'll have 20 to 25 available.
okay.
We just need to put a price on it.
On a motion.
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to charge $50.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on.
Alex can write a different resolution at a future meeting.
Yes, it will come as a change to the fee schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, town vouchers.
I will make a motion to approve the town vouchers in the amount of $18,178.05.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next are Harbor Commission vouchers.
I will make a motion to approve the Harbor Commission vouchers in the amount of $8,952.
Moved and seconded. I just have one question, Alex, if you can forward this on to the Harbor Commission, which is, I noticed on the Amundsen Davis bill, there shows a prior balance that isn't included in this payment amount. So we can just mention to them that that's there. Okay. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Alternative claims.
I will make a motion to approve the alternative claims in the amount of $177,231.65.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report with a checking account. $1,459,740.26.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the town of LaPointe regular town board meeting from April 9th, 2024. And approve special town board meeting from April 12th, 2024. April 6th, special town board meeting, April 16th, 2024. And that's it.
I just have to make a correction on April 12th. Michael was not present on that April 12th meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so noted. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Emergency Services Police Department, letters to Ashland County and Bad River regarding emergency services expectations on tribal land. Has everyone received a copy of those two letters? Are there any questions or comments?
Do you want to?
Go ahead.
I don't understand this because Bill's here, so. But years ago, when John Kovach was sheriff,
In 2010. The mutual aid statute was rewritten in 2010 to include language for tribal land.
it used to be as long as the dispatcher sent us out there, we couldn't go on our own. As long as the dispatcher sent us out there, it was okay.
The
So,
statute was rewritten, somewhere between 2010 and 2014 to include sovereign. And basically, if we don't have an agreement, it's illegal for us to even respond. We'd be violating statute to respond without an agreement in place.
And we have tried.
well, I mean, it's not like we haven't tried. I mean, Lisa sent many letters and Michael probably sent as many.
I pointed this out to Michael, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm reading this right, and then I remember Michael sent it to the attorney, and he read it even further than I did. And, I've talked to another agency, and they said, oh, no, and I'm like, we're gonna go with what our attorney said.
So they're gonna be a domestic out
There
there.
could be a domestic out there.
There's nothing you can do.
It's literally, a sovereign nation is literally like watching something happen on the other side of the Canadian border.
You can do.
There's nothing I can do about
It would be to their benefit to have our emergency services,
it. Complete benefit to them.
fire and ambulance, if there's the ambulance call out there, same thing. I mean,
Well, this brings the issue up to, I think, a higher level of awareness that it perhaps had not been fully appreciated in the past. My only tiny suggestion is on the letter to the sheriff. We just need to tidy up the CCs because it just says XX, Ashland County Board Chair, and XX, Ashland County Administrator. So we just need to put in the real names of those folks. I think, and otherwise, is everyone comfortable with these letters? And I will send them, I'll sign this one to the chairman tonight, and then I'll sign the other one as soon as we add those names. And I don't know, do we want a motion to authorize me to sign these letters?
I'll make a motion that we authorize you to sign letters to Chair Blanchard and Brian's.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
the only thing I would add is, on the end of the paragraph, the very ending, it says, please let me know. And we don't have to give them a deadline or nothing, but like if Bill or Michael or somebody's talking with one of those guys, say, we want to know, not next year, we want to know, we got summer coming up, there's gonna be a call out there.
Well, I think they will understand that we aren't responding as of, now. And so,
They should have understood it
yeah,
for years.
well, they will understand that right now, there's no coverage out there that we're providing. And how long they want to have that situation continue is how long it's going to take them to respond, I would guess.
I think
Very uneasy for my guys. I mean, they're not liking this because they're all shepherds. They want to go help. And like I said, when I read it, I brought it to Michael. I said, am I reading this right?
Okay.
So I guess we were.
Were any of the letters that were sent out, was it? Made apparent that we just want to respond to calls, we don't want to patrol, I mean. Because this letter doesn't say that, but he's saying that they used to just go if dispatcher sent them.
Yep.
Did any of the letters say that?
I mean, we have basically just sent letters and made phone calls to sit down and have a memorandum of understanding. on how to handle emergency services, access, how to handle some public works, things with the roads up there. And we've just never gotten an invitation to sit down. We've had conversations with different people, and again, they've got their own priorities. But it puts us in a difficult situation. It puts our volunteers in a difficult situation. And at some point, we have to be able to say, this is what we legally have to do or can't do.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe,
For both fronts. I mean, the sheriff's department has a contract to patrol tribal land. And so it's their responsibility to patrol tribal land, not ours.
Okay, we have,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
Do
ahead.
they still, I know it's been quite a while back. They were talking about having rental properties out there. And again, they're a sovereign nation, so they can do what they want to do. But do we know if they are? Because if they are, is it our responsibility to like put a sign up somewhere that says that the police don't come out here? Because people aren't, do we know if?
It's not our responsibility. I mean, it's not our responsibility to put a sign up saying we're not allowed on land.
Why is that not our responsibility? Why can't we put that right?
It'd be
at
the same as you're going to a different county. There's nothing that says, you're leaving this county and we're not gonna do anything anymore. I mean,
Well, I beg to differ a little bit, because if you're going from one county to another county, you're not losing your safety.
I'm just saying that I don't think it's the town of La Pointe's responsibility to put a sign out there saying we're not allowed on their land.
I don't know that it even needs to be out there. It might just need to be something that's, in like I don't know, being crazy, but I don't like people being at risk and they don't even know they are.
Well, that's.
Okay, well, we are trying to resolve this.
Okay.
And we are going to give this our best shot, and I think more to come.
Okay.
Did we take a vote?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on then, next item is a survey for La Pointe Policing. And this came up at the annual town meeting. We've had a couple different opportunities for people to come and express their viewpoints on expectations for law enforcement. What we've not really done is to survey people as rigorously as we do or have had in the past for like the MRF or the comprehensive plan. And so this is asking if the town board and if the town board is inclined to want to have police department and Michael and the community members, participate in coming up with survey questions that would be distributed much the same way that we did for the MRF and the comprehensive plan. Is that something, because I know we have talked about taking a look at policing and probably, the next couple months or so. I know we had talked about wanting to do it after the first quarter, and we're well into the second quarter now, but if people are in agreement on that, there's a consensus that we should do that. Okay. Move forward, John.
Instead of a survey, you can do a survey if you want. Why not have a couple open sessions with the town board? Basically, the question is, it's $425,000 a year for the police department. Is the public willing to pay that every year and then more? Or should there be something else done? It's a pretty simple question.
Well, it is, John. The problem is getting everyone in the same room at the same time. I think that the town board would really like to hear from the entire community on this really very important issue. And the best way that I think we have found so far to do that is to use SurveyMonkey or other means to really have a broad representative survey. I mean, we've had really good success so far. It has to be done. I mean, the questions can't be slanted. You know, they have to be really rigorous. We have to force people to make hard choices when they're filling out the survey and just not, you know, would you like to have 24/7 police coverage? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, do you want to have 24/7 police coverage at this
Expense,
cost?
yes.
Right. And so I think that, I think also the police department is interested in hearing from the community about what their expectations are, for policing. You know, do they want people pulled over for speeding under 10 miles an hour? You know,
Let's turn 2080.
okay. There seems to be, but you get the drift, right?
Right.
People will have opinions on this, and I think that, anyhow, we're all in agreement.
I'm in agreement with it to go forward, but I think people, even though we've tried numerous times to educate people where we're at today, what led us to this point, and it can be, I don't know who would be responsible to write it, but a couple paragraphs to educate them what, you know, where we're at today, how it came this way.
And maybe we do an article in the Gazette before we
Or
send out
maybe,
the, before we send out the survey.
Yeah.
yeah, something like that, just to let people know.
Evan?
Keep in mind, we got one coming out here to get it.
Well,
That's it.
thank you. I don't think we're probably gonna move. I don't know how quickly we'll be able to move on getting a survey, you know, done and out.
That'll be done before the 4th of July.
Another one. Okay. That might be perfect timing.
Because people be here.
Yeah, okay. Does that give you what you need, Michael, on the survey for point policing?
The permission to start. So
Okay, all right. That's what we need. Okay, next is fire department purchase order for maintenance of SCBA and hydraulic equipment.
I will make a motion to approve the purchase order for $3,355 for the fire department.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the fire department monthly report.
once again, there's no.
No report, okay. That is unfortunate. Next, ambulance.
Corey's for to be on.
Okay. Got it. Okay, public comment B. Paul?
I'd like to thank the town board. We've no, it's $125,000, so you're gonna have to take a load responsible bid. But if you're going through the effort to get bids, it's irresponsible not to go. And I know how those told the person that applied for submitted the bid is covered. Has a license of applicable, pretty much the responsible bidder. That being said, ago, sanitary district put out bids for televising and cleaning the sewer. We got 7 bids ranging from 67,000 to 190. Granted, this is over the 25,000. But if I would have taken the second highest bid of 136,000 instead of the lowest bid of 67,000, I would have taken my own one. Just because it's financially irresponsible not to. And concerning about, you don't want to go against someone's recommendation. About 15 to 20 years ago, zoning recommendation was routinely ignored by the town, at the then town board. It didn't bother them one bit. Speaking of financials, so you rescinded the resolution changing the zoning down by the church. But I also see last week in the paper, you had a notice published that you pass this resolution. How much did that cost? It's a waste of money. You might as well, pardon my Spanish, wipe your ass with it, set it on fire, you just got a clean butt, and a little bit of heat, because it didn't do anything. Just for matter of procedure, ask if anyone else on that harbor commission is gonna resign, because if someone's gonna resign in another week, you might as well just do an informal phone call or text message and say, any idea of resigning, because if you're gonna get 3 or 4 more people resigning, you might as well do it in one fell swoop, be done with it. And finally, that waiver idea for employees working on their own vehicles isn't a bad idea, but I would go a little farther, perhaps think about requiring proof of insurance for those working on the vehicles. About 15, 20 years ago, a town worker on their own time working on someone's vehicle, the fuel system, I mean, they inadvertently did not disconnect the battery, they left the key in the ignition, they left for the weekend. During the weekend, a weekend parts employee tried starting it, obviously it didn't start because there's no fuel, but it was just enough to ignite in the engine compartment of the vehicle. Thankfully, nothing burned to the ground other than the engine compartment of the vehicle, but if something that happens to a town building, who pays for that? So it might not be a bad idea to see if you wanted to sign this waiver that you have some sort of insurance for your homeowner's insurance is going to cover this.
Thank you, Paul. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on. Any liquor and operating licenses? None. Lawsuit and legal. Are we going to discuss both of these issues?
There's no update on the X-Fields position.
So we will be talking about the cell tower lease conversion proposal. This meeting may, upon duly made motion, be convened in closed session under state statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. If the town board goes into closed session, it will reconvene in open session before adjourning. Is there a motion to go into closed session for this purpose?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for the purpose. Yes.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Mike Anderson,
Yes.
Amy Baxter,
Yes.
Susan Brenna,
Yes.
Samantha Dobson.
Yes.
And Bonnie Carlson, yes.